Hello dear fans, friends and subscribers. Welcome to the daily edition of the Cricket Happening Show here with your host Ram. And on this Cricket Happening Show, it was a day which was really ruined by rain as far as the first day's play was concerned between India and the West Indies, where actually it was the West Indies who were batting first. In fact, West Indies won the toss here at the Queen's Park Oval, Port of Spain in Trinidad and Tobago, and on stumps on day one with rain stopping play. It was only 22 overs were possible, and the West Indies had lost 2 wickets for 62 at stumps. So that match was ruined by rain today. But there was one match which happened in Ireland, where Pakistan and Ireland played in a particular match, and let me tell you, Pakistan created a record in one-day internationals as far as the Pakistan one-day ODI history is concerned, as they actually had a victory by a huge margin of 255 runs, and that is a record for Pakistan because they made 337 batting first, with Sharjeel Khan slamming the ball to all parts of the field in only the way that he does. 337 for 6, thanks to Sharjeel Khan smashing 152 of just 86 deliveries with 16 fours and 9 sixes, and Pakistan 337 for 6 was a real huge mountain to climb for Ireland, and Ireland under the pressure were totally bowled out, as they were bowled out for just 82 runs. And as I said, this was the biggest ever win by Pakistan in their ODI history. The margin of victory I'm talking about, 255 runs they won the match against Ireland. And tomorrow it's the start of the test series between New Zealand and South Africa. The first test match starts at the Durban Cricket Ground, Kingsmead in Durban. And let me tell you one thing here, that New Zealand have never gone to South Africa and defeated South Africa in a test series. So everyone is talking about whether New Zealand can actually pull off their first ever victory, pull off a test series victory in South Africa for the first time. And keeping in mind that AB de Villiers is not playing because of he's taking some rest, and he's not playing. So that's, as you know, he's a big draw card, and he's unfortunately not there. So that's the reason, probably thinking whether New Zealand will have a chance of actually getting the first series win against the South Africans. So that is the first one. So I will try to do a brief preview of that. But first, definitely let's move on to the India-West Indies game and see what really happened. Well, West Indies won the toss here on the in the final test match here at the Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad and Tobago, and West Indies had no hesitation to bat first. They made just one change. They brought in, because it's expected to take some turn, and that's the precise reason they drafted Devendra Bishu, the right-arm leg spinner, into the ranks, and they decided to drop Alzari Joseph, who was very impressive in the previous test, as you will all know. So as I said, rain was the spoiled sport, but in the brief time that happened, I thought Brathwaite and Johnson were very watchful. They saw off the first spell of bowling from the pace bowlers like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Mohammad Shami, the swing bowlers, very well. But after that, the first wicket fell when Ishan Sharma provided the breakthrough by getting rid of Leon Johnson, caught by Rohit Sharma, the bowling Ishan Sharma from 9 with 1 boundary. And then Ravichandran Ashwin showing his spinning tricks here. What a delivery to actually dismiss Darren Bravo. The ball actually turned from outside the middle and leg stump, outside the leg stump, leg and middle stump, and pitched on the leg and middle stump, I would say, and then he went on to take the off bail, I would say. And Darren Bravo was a goner, bowled by Ashwin for 10 with 2 boundaries, and with rain really interrupting play, Brathwaite was sticking it out there. He was not out on 32 with 5 boundaries. Samuels was not out on 4, and that was the story as far as the first day was concerned. Unfortunately, 62 for 2 was the stumps on day 1 for the West Indies. And the bowling, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar 6 overs 1 maiden, none for 13. Mohammad Shami 6 overs 2 maidens, none for 14. Ishan Sharma 5 overs 3 maidens, 1 for 7. The other wicket taker Ashwin 1 for 22. And India decided to make some changes. They decided to actually get in Murli Vijay into the ranks, and so Murli Vijay came in the place of Shikhar Dhawan, and also there was a place for Cheteshwar Pujara with there was one more Ravindra Jadeja was dropped and Cheteshwar Pujara was taken into the team. So that is as far as that match was concerned. But now let's head on to the first ODI between Pakistan and Ireland. As I said, Pakistan created absolute history here in the match between Pakistan and Ireland. Pakistan batted first and they raised a huge total. They, in fact, as I said, they created a record by having the highest margin of a win in ODI history, in Pakistan ODI history, as they won by 255 runs. So Pakistan batting first, they raised a big score on the board of 337 for 6 of 47 overs at the village Malahide in Dublin, and the chief person who was responsible for that was none other than Sharjeel Khan, the opener. As you know, Sharjeel Khan did well in the Pakistan Super League too, and today he was in absolutely punitive mood. He was first, I would say, he was merciless initially when he was racing, when he was going towards his century, but after his century he was more merciless, as he really clattered all the Ireland bowlers all across the park, with the exception of Tim Muttag, who was the best bowler today. And look at the knock that Sharjeel Khan played. What a knock it was. He contributed, he smashed 152 of just 86 deliveries with 16 fours and 9 sixes, and all those sixes that he was hitting was mostly hiked down the leg side, and also he was hitting it down the ground too, and he was also playing some good pull shots. And Sharjeel Khan was really taking the Ireland attack absolutely apart, and that's what enabled. Just going through the card there, Azhar Ali was dismissed very cheaply for 1 by McCarthy. After that, Sharjeel Khan, as I said, his knock stood out, 152 of 86 deliveries, 16 fours and 9 sixes. Hafiz contributed a very quiet 37, 4 fours and 1 six of 59 balls. Babar Azam's 29 of as many balls with 2 fours. Sarfraz Ahmed was cheaply dismissed for 2. Shoaib Malik was unbeaten on 57 of just 37 deliveries with 6 fours and 2 sixes. Mohammad Nawaz played a good hand, 53 of 50 balls with 7 fours, and the total for Pakistan was 337 for 6 of 47 overs. Now, as far as the bowling was concerned, as I said, there was only one bowler of whom one could be spoken about. Amidst all the mayhem that Sharjeel Khan was doing there at the Malahide ground in Dublin against the Irish bowlers, Tim Muttag was the bowling figures which stood out. I mean, definitely, Tim Muttag definitely deserves a great credit, because look at the bowling analysis of him. When in a score of 337, Muttag gave away just 38 runs of his 10 overs and also picked up a wicket. McCarthy, even though he got a bit of tap, 10 overs unmade 62 runs and 4 wickets, the most successful bowler. Chase disappeared for 70 runs of his 7 overs with 1 wicket. McBride, the off-spinner, was smashed for 49 runs of his 5 overs. Kevin O'Brien was taken to the tune of 57 runs of 8 overs. Peter Sterling, 7 overs cost him 58, and that was the story of Sharjeel Khan dealing with the Irish bowlers. As far as Ireland were concerned, for them, they absolutely had no answer, and if you look at their scorecard, the highest scorer being Gary Wilson with 21 of 33 balls with 2 fours, and the main person who really did the damage was Imad Wasim. Imad Wasim, as you know, the left-arm spinner, actually did a fine job in the Caribbean Premier League in 2016 this season, as you would remember, and he really carried it forward. What a splendid bowling analysis from Imad Wasim. I mean, he was definitely bowling on a cushion of 337 runs, one could imagine that. But look at his bowling figures: 5.4 overs, no maiden, 14 runs and 5 wickets for Imad Wasim. And then Mohammad Nawaz had 1 for 14. Umar Gul, who made his comeback, also got amongst the wickets today, 3 for 23 for him, which was good to see, and 1 wicket for 7 for Mohammad Amir. So looking at the Irish batting card here does not make any happy viewing. As I said, the highest scorer was Gary Wilson, and the other persons to reach bowling, double figures were Andy McGrine, not out on 14 of 21 balls with 1 4, 1 6. William Porterfield contributed 13 of 2 boundaries. 10 coming from Niall O'Brien's bat of 25 deliveries with 1-4. Other than that, Sterling was out for naught. Ed Joyce was out for 9 of 28 deliveries, and Kevin O'Brien could contribute only 4 runs of 2 balls, and which was a boundary. Wilson 21, as I said, Pointer 4, McCarthy 1, Murtagh duck, Chase duck, and this Irish innings folded for 82 runs. A very poor display by Ireland, I thought. The bowling figures I've already spoken about, and it was Sharjeel Khan who was the smasher to actually give Pakistan a record in their ODI history, where they got this is the highest margin of victory that Pakistan has ever recorded in their ODI history. So now let's look at the series which is starting tomorrow. As I said, the first test match is starting between New Zealand and South Africa. It's going to be played at Kingsmead in Durban, and is expected to assist the spinners according to what reports we get here. But definitely South African pitchers, as you know, they would definitely have a lot of pace and bounce, and it is going to be very interesting. South Africa, as I said, the main focus would be that New Zealand have never won a series against South Africa in South Africa. So the question on everyone's lips is whether New Zealand this time can actually do a sort of a turn. They have never won a test series, and it is going to be very interesting to see as to whether New Zealand, with their form that they are in right now, would they be able to put it across South Africa and have their first ever test series win. One can really wish, South Africans definitely won't wish to allow them to do that, but South Africa, as you know, they don't have the stalwart A.B. de Villiers, who is being rested. And looking at the South African team, the opening combination of Stephen Cook, who actually got a century against England, as you know, on his debut. He would be partnering Dean Elgar, who did a good job with the bat in India, I reckon, where the South Africans were really collapsing. So Stephen Cook and Dean Elgar to open the innings. Hashim Amla, we all know Hashim Amla. So Hashim Amla, in the absence of A.B. de Villiers, I'm sure it's going to be Hashim Amla and the new captain du Plessis, the test captain now in absence of de Villiers, who has to really take up the mantle of scoring a lot of runs, and big runs at that. And then they have Themba Bavuma, who is another good find for South Africa. He's a good wicket keeper. He's a good player too, and he has already shown that he can play in those big matches. So Themba Bavuma will be watched keenly. JP Duminy has been struggling, but he has been the South African selectors have still persisted with JP Duminy. It'll be interesting to see whether JP Duminy can get some runs under his belt. Quinton de Kock, the wicketkeeper batsman, also. So definitely there's a good blend of batting, and there's a good all-rounder. Vernon Philander has made it back to the team, and that is going to be very interesting to see, because Vernon Philander could be quite a very tricky proposition, but one has to see after his injury how Vernon Philander shapes up. Dan Peat is the right-arm off spinner in the ranks, and he's also a very good spinner. We saw that he did a good job when against India in India. And Dale Steyn, look at that opening bowling of South Africa. I think that is the one which will be the very strong point for South Africa. Dale Steyn, partnered by the much improved, I would say, Kagiso Rabada. In fact, Dale Steyn has already mentioned that he is not going to go full tilt, and he is going to be really conserving his energy and bowling in short spells. But as far as Kagiso Rabada is concerned, he's already given a sort of confidence to Kagiso Rabada, Dale Steyn, by saying that he says that now, since Kagiso Rabada is there to ramp up the pace, he is not really concerned about pace. He's going to concentrate on line and length, but probably he might ramp it up at times so that he is not burnt out. And so he says that Kagiso Rabada is really ready to take over from Dale Steyn, and it's going to be interesting to see as to how Kagiso Rabada goes. Well, as far as New Zealand are concerned, Kane Williamson is the captain who's leading the team. Martin Guptill, Tom Latham has got some centuries, as you would remember. He got it against, I'm just trying to remember that, probably Zimbabwe. Tom Latham had 2 consecutive centuries. Martin Guptill is a good player too. Kane Williamson, then Ross Taylor, a wonderful player. I mean, he's a very good test match player. And then they have Henry Nichols. Henry Nichols did not have a good game against Zimbabwe, so probably, but they will be tested probably with the pace and bounce here at the Kingsmead in Durban in South African pitches, which assist the pace and bounce a lot. And then BJ Watling, what a wonderful player he is. I mean, he's a sort of a real valuable contributor in this New Zealand ranks, especially with both the keeping gloves and also with the bat. Mitchell Santner is a very, very promising all-rounder in the making. And then the pace bowling will be in the hands of a very, very strong New Zealand bowling lineup here. Trent Boult, Tim Southee, Neil Wagner, who was really brimming with, he was really fire and brimstone in his bowling, but we know this is a different opposition. But Neil Wagner is one of those aggressive blokes as far as pace bowling is concerned, and one should really see a good game coming up. So it should be a nice competition between the New Zealand bowlers and the South African bowlers, and also Doug Bracewell, or whether it will be Ish Sodhi. But looking at the pitch, that is, they say it's going to be much slower than the usual, so it's quite possible that Ish Sodhi, the right arm leg spinner, might get the cut here. But all in all, as I said, so tomorrow the first test match starts between New Zealand and South Africa. The first test match is Kingsmead Ground in Durban, and it should be a real cracker according to me. And I'll be there tomorrow to recount as to what happened in those matches. Till such time, I see you, dear fans and subscribers. This is your host Ram bidding good night. Thank you.